Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To those of you the brave souls that came, if you guys can maybe come a little closer, Jazakumullah khair. We'll start off with some recitation of the Quran, bi'idhnillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. يا أيها الذين كفروا لا تعتذروا اليوم إنما تجزون ما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا عسى ربكم أن يكفر عنكم سيئاتكم ويدخلكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار يوم لا يخزي الله النبي والذين آمنوا معه نورهم يسعى بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم يقولون ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. First of all, Jazakumullah khair for coming and attending, for defying the snowstorm and being able to be here regardless of the weather. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. And those brothers and sisters who could not make it, that's fine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. I'm sure the weather probably was a big reason. Driving in this weather sometimes is risky. However, some of them maybe are following us online, live. So hopefully this message is to all of us, those who are here and those who could not make it. This is a subject that I believe is vital for all of us. And we have started this series probably 4 weeks ago, talking about the fiqh of social media. This is something that some of ulama, some of the learned people are paying attention to, and they are trying to apply certain rules related to how do we navigate with these inventions, with these ways. The topic of today is related to social media and dhunub, sins. And I believe this is very important. So what are the elements that I think we need to know in relationship to this topic? So before talking about the social media, let's talk about the dhunub and their impact on us as human beings. And briefly, so we are created, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, in such a way where we are vulnerable. We are vulnerable for dhunub. The system, our system, is created in such a way that we can be impacted, we can be somehow affected by what we do. And what we do, some of it is good, some of it is bad. We have that tendency, that nature, to do good things and to do bad things. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. We have guided him to the way where he will be able to do that which is good or that which is bad. If we do that which is good, we will reap the consequences, the results of our good deeds, and we will be in good shape. However, if we do the wrong things, there will be consequences as well. So, the most important organ in this creation that is actually very, very sensitive and most likely to be affected by this is our heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam described to us, إِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً إِذَا صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. In the body, there is a piece of flesh or a morsel of flesh or an organ. If it is good and wholesome and healthy, the rest of the body will be healthy. But if it is not, then the rest of the body will suffer the consequences. أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبِ. That is the heart. Now, our ulama, when they speak about this, they say we are talking about the spiritual heart. The spiritual heart. Chances are the spiritual heart is in the physical heart. That's how many ulama draw conclusions that the spiritual heart is in this physical heart. Therefore, this spiritual heart is subject to be between forces. What are these forces? These forces is the force of the ruh, which is originally from heaven. That's a force. Usually that force is positive. It is to try to influence the heart to be inclined towards that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. But the heart also is between the force of the nafs. These nafs, these lower desires of ours are also another force that we would like to do certain things that they may not be according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. Yes, at a certain level, at one level, the nafs is created to fulfill certain things if they are done according to moral rules, according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. Therefore, that nafs will fulfill certain objectives. We have the desire to eat, to survive. We have the desire to have sexual relationship. That is because humanity has to continue, so then we will have children. There are desires to achieve. There is a desire to compete. There is that kind of inclination to be angry, so you will be able to defend yourself. But at a certain limit. That is all originally is from these nafs. These nafs. And all that, if it is done properly, according to proper education, then it will fulfill the purpose behind which those desires are being created. But we know very well that's not what happens. Most of the time, to every one of us as a human being, and to most of human beings, we exceed the limits. That means we cross the boundaries. We end up, instead of fulfilling that purpose behind which those desires are being created, we end up doing that which is very destructive, very wrong. And that is because of this nafs. Because this nafs has also its own structure. When it's not being taken care of with proper education, this nafs becomes wild. This nafs becomes a beast. So, and that all, there is a lot of discussion in that area. Where that is leading me? It is leading me, these two forces are trying to control the heart. So if the ruh is the one that is controlling the heart, then the nafs will just go down, go back. It will not influence the heart that much. And the heart will be filled with this rawhani energy to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to block that kind of waswasa, that kind of whispering of the nafs. But there is another element. That is the shaitan. And shaitan is real. Many people, given the culture we are living in, many people forgot completely about the shaitan. Many people are aware of the nafs. And because we love, we desire, we hate, so we are aware of the nafs. And many people, because they are religious or they are believers, so they are aware of the rawhani, the soul and the influence of the soul and the teachings, all that, to a certain level. But many people are completely unaware of the work of the shaitan. Yet the work of shaitan is real. It is real. It is not theoretical. It is not just symbolic. No, it is real. It is real, just like you see me and I see you. It is real. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us of the influence of the shaitan and said, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Indeed, shaitan is your enemy, take him as an enemy. But we are not taking shaitan as an enemy. As a matter of fact, we are befriending the shaitan. Many people, shaitan is their friend. That's where we are coming to the social media. Where is the shaitan in the social media? That's the legitimate question we should ask ourselves. Where is the shaitan in the social media? And where is the nafs in the social media? We know very well the people who are controlling the social media, they are not coming from the background of believing in Allah. They are not coming from a background that they are teaching morality. They are not coming from a background where they are trying to inspire us spiritually to be good people, to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get rid of the influence of the shaitan or the influence of the... No. What's driving? What is driving the people who are behind this social media? What is driving them? First of all, is materialism. Number two is money. They would like to make money regardless of what's going to happen to you. It's regardless what's going to happen to humanity. They will do whatever it takes to make money. Not only money, you know what comes with money? What comes with money? Huh? Power. What comes with money is power. Power needs money, and money will bring power. That's why wherever you see one, you will see the second. And that is the definition of dunya. The definition of dunya is al-jahu wal-mal. Ta'rif al-dunya here, these two elements, no more. Al-jahu wal-mal. It's money and power. And that is the problem. That is the problem. So from that perspective, I'm coming to the point of dhunub. Since we are vulnerable and we cannot protect ourselves 100% from committing sins or making mistakes. We cannot. كل ابن آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين التوابون. The Prophet ﷺ said, every child of Adam is to make mistakes. No doubt about it. That's our nature as a human beings. Allah created us for a wisdom. He created us that way. But He did not create us to make mistakes and then He left us. No. He empowered us how to protect ourselves from the nafs and from the shaitan. And He gave us enough tools actually to overcome them. All right? ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. He described to us this nafs. Allah created this nafs and created it with this structure that it can go too low, but it can go also too high. That nafs has the potential to be too low, worse than the shaitan. But it has also the potential to be like an angel or even better. That's why we have different level of the nafs. We have an-nafs al-lawama, we have an-nafs al-ammara bis-su', then an-nafs al-lawama, then an-nafs al-mutma'inna, and then an-nafs al-radiyah. We have all these levels of nafs. If the nafs is being taken care of, that means well trained, then it has the potential to be the best. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us examples of human beings that are not necessarily prophets. They are not necessarily prophets. They are human beings, just like you and I. And they were able to train themselves properly and to be strict with themselves so they can climb that ladder and to be really good. Yes, it's possible. However, if we don't do that, what's going to happen? Then we will be opening the door for those sins. And we keep committing the sins. Now, the nature of these sins, some of them are shahwani. There are different categorization for sins. One category is the following, is that they are of two categories. One it calls shahawat, the other one is called shubuhat. Shahawat and shubuhat. Shahawat is coming from the word shahwa, desire. That means low desires. What are some of the sins that we commit that are related to shahawat? Everybody is aware of the animalistic shahawat. Most of the people are aware of that. So people would like to commit zina. People would like to eat and usurp and take that which is haram just to eat, to fulfill. And we are talking about physical eating, all right? And there are some other shahawat that are not as clear as this, but they are shahawat as well. There is the shahwa to be known. There is the shahwa to be famous, and to be famous at any expense. Halal or haram, right? And there is the shahwa to dominate, to control. And there is the shahwa to be liked at any expense. And all kinds of shahwat. And there is the shahwa to be special. To be special. You are not like everybody else. You always want to be special. And all kinds of shahawat. So these shahawat are hidden. These hidden shahawat are very dangerous. But these are the shahawat that the shaitan make use of them. And shaitan is very skilled in knowing this shahawat, and he comes to everyone according to his nature, according to his level. Not everybody is the same. Some people, he comes to them through the basic shahawat, and he will make them commit zina, he will make them kill, he will make them do this, he will make them do that, he will make them steal. But there are some people who are not of that category. They are not of that category. They are of another category, right? And that's where the social media comes. To get a person from whatever level he is, and he keeps bringing him down, to the point where now that person becomes just like a dog in a leash. And the shaitan is pulling him to wherever he would like to take him, because he got him to the point where he likes what he likes. So the point over here is that these dhunub, when we are not doing what it takes to get rid of them, that's why the ayat that were recited from Surah Al-Tahrim by Sheikh Ridwan is very important. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families from a hellfire. Well, you protect yourself and your family from a hellfire. Are we talking about a hellfire that is in front of me? No, there is no hellfire that is in front of me. That is, we are talking about the hellfire of the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling me here, in this dunya, while I am alive, here, protect yourself and your family from a hellfire. How? That means protect myself and my family from things that will lead me to that hellfire. Things that will make me enter that hellfire. And it's very obvious. What are the things that will make me or my family go to the hellfire? Are things, either disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that is shubuhat, or things that will lead me to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in shahawat. So if we are aware of these two categories and are very much aware what to look for when dealing with the social media, about issues that can drag us little by little until we get to a point where things become blurry. You may go with a good intention. I really want to know. But then we know the social media is a platform where it will make you, all right, don't stop exactly to where you would like to go. Most likely you are going to go beyond, and from one step to the other, until you find yourself one day far away from where you started. And you will find yourself unable to be in control. So some of the things that are being discussed and we need to be aware of is, try to remember this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where one day the Prophet ﷺ is sitting with his companions, and then he drew a line. He said, this is the straight path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to stick to. And he said, on this straight path, there are gates. On the right and on the left. And at every gate, there is a caller. There is someone who is calling. So, if you go and answer that caller and open that gate, you will enter it. So don't open those gates. Keep going. See, that's the kind of challenge we are faced with every day. Every day. So that means I have to know. This is ilm. Number one that we need to be aware of is ilm, knowledge. I have to have the basic knowledge that is necessary to know what is this straight path. What does it take to stay on this straight path? And then I need to know what will protect me from not entering those gates. Because those callers will be calling. One will be calling from the left, the other one will be, and those callers, when they call, they are using shahawat or shubuhat. They are either using those lower desires of mine, or they are using those shubuhat, which means start creating some doubts in your mind. Allah is like this, Allah is like that. The malaika, who said the malaika are there? What is the proof that there will be malaika? What is the proof that there is shaitan? Come on, this is old stories. And so many things they will, and you keep going until one day you will be at the level where actually you may become a disbeliever. It doesn't start from day one. No, it starts from far away. One thing leads to the other. And when you don't stop it at the beginning, then you are taking a big risk. That's why we need to be well prepared. Now, when the child is born, we give the child a vaccination. Why we give a child a vaccination? Why we care about the immune system of the child or the immune system of a human being? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already put an immune system in us. But we compromise that immune system. We compromise that immune system by putting ourselves vulnerable to those kind of sins. We are supposed to stay away from them, especially big sins, major sins. We stay away from there. Why do we have to eat? And we eat the nutritious food. Why? When I don't feel good, I go to the doctor. You see, when it comes to our physical body, at least in a culture of today, we are doing much better than many people. That means there is that kind of awareness, there is that kind of consciousness, and we try to eat well. We try to know what is nutritious food, what is not nutritious food. We try to go to the doctors to make sure that we are okay. But that's for the physical body. What about my spiritual being? What about my morality? What about my mental well-being? What about my social relationships? What about my emotions from the Islamic perspective? All this area is very important. So that means that line, I need to have knowledge to know what is right and what is not right. And then I need to shape myself according to that knowledge. I need to work day and night. Just like I protect my body, I should be protecting my spirit much more to make sure I will not be a game in the hand of shaitan. So from that perspective, when it comes to dhunub, and I'm going to conclude with this, when it comes to dhunub are very dangerous because they are like the cancer, that if we allow them and we don't protect ourselves from them, they will affect the heart. And when they affect the heart, then the struggle at that time, it becomes a serious struggle. And you cannot guarantee that there will be a winner. It's much easier to protect the heart from the dhunub and from the shaitan so they will not get in. But once they get in, it will be a different fight to get them out. It will be a different fight to get them out. So it's much easier to protect yourself from getting them in, and that's the easy way. But once they are in, that will be a different battle game to get them out. And this is the point. When we are talking about the social media, there are so many good things in it. And people are mentioning and people are experiencing, there is some good material that you can learn. There is so much connection with family members, friends. But here is the question. Is it 50-50? That is, the good is equal to the bad? Or is it the bad more than the good? Or is it the good bad? But the point over here is, what is this that I am doing so I protect myself from dhunub, and then those dhunub are not magnified with the social media. It looks like the issue that is with the social media in these past 10, 15, 20 years is magnifying the dhunub. What is the outcome when dhunub are magnified when it comes to the human being? One issue is dhunub becomes easy, becomes acceptable. Since all people are doing it, it must be okay. So validation. Validation for the behavior that's being done, because the way the social media is being designed, just like this, the whole civilization that we are in, is everything is relative. Everything is relative. That who said this is haram? Who said this is bad? Who said this is not? No. You know, what is good one time, you know, it may be bad another time. So there is nothing obsolete. We as believers, we know there are certain things that are obsolete. Allah said this is haram, it is haram. Why it is haram? It must be harmful, period. There is no discussion about that. So the point over here is, when we know how the usage of social media is affecting me and my dhunub, I think I need to know how to tackle that. It becomes just like someone who has a cancer, how to lead, how to do, how to deal with that cancer to get rid of it. And better if, how to protect ourselves from that cancer from the beginning. So let's see what Sheikh Radwan is going to tell us. Then after that, we would like you to share with us your views and what do you think about this idea.
I'm not Sheikh Adwan.
You are not? Oh, I'm Sheikh. You are not Sheikh.
Good. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Most of what I'm going to say can be taken from two sources. I want you guys, when you have free time, to watch these two sources. The first is a documentary, maybe some of you have watched it, called The Social Dilemma. Came out some years ago. Documentary made by non-Muslims, made by some ex-CEOs, ex-founders of some of these social media companies. And, you know, they try to highlight some of the dangers I'm going to mention. So the first, The Social Dilemma. The second is an old speech by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf called The Devil's Trap. The Devil's Trap. It's maybe an hour long, maybe a little under an hour. Excellent, excellent, must watch. Must watch. So things I'm going to share, inshallah, can be taken from those two. The Social Dilemma and The Devil's Trap. I think the danger from social media is 95 bad, 5% good, Abi. I think 50-50 is too generous, and I think 70-30 is too generous. And to be honest with you, we need to treat social media the way we treat guns. The way my father treated caffeine with me as a kid. What age did you allow me to drink tea, Abi? 17 maybe, 18? And of course, tea is much, much less harmful than what we are seeing from social media. I don't have to convince you guys. The fact of the matter is, the magnification of sin on social media is on a level unprecedented. Think about it this way. I can be home, alone, in my room. Even if I have my family in my house with me, they don't hear a thing, they don't see a thing. And I am backbiting, I am slandering, I am lying, I am consuming more nudity, I am consuming more explicit content than anyone before me, any generation before me ever has. In an amount of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I can see more explicit content, without going into graphics and details, than the collection of men in history before me ever saw. Not only is it unprecedented, it's not natural. The human, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the human, the fitrah of the human, the default, the natural homeostasis of the human to see all that, to hear all that. And yet, we treat social media and the internet and giving it to our children the same way we treat giving them, candy or a harmless TV show, or it is far, far beyond that. Let's go through some stats so I can scare you a little more, and then we'll talk, inshallah. Between the ages of 13 and 17 years old here in America, if you had to guess what percentage of that age group is on social media, what numbers would you throw out? A percentage between the ages of 13 and 17. Keep in mind, if you go to sign up for social media, 13 is the minimum age, right? If you go to make an Instagram account or a Facebook account, if you're under 13, you have to lie and say you're 13, right? So between the ages of 13 and 17, what percentage would you give? Anyone can raise their hand. It's exactly 95. MashaAllah. 95%. 95%. You're not going to find 95% of anyone doing anything. 95% of youth between the ages of 13 and 17 are on social media. If you go under the age of 13, from ages 8 to 12, that number is still at 40%. 40%. So this is, by the social media standards, illegal. Obviously, it's not illegal like criminal, but it's against their policy. You still have 40% of children between the ages of 8 and 12 using social media. And the most popular social media of our days now for this age group is not Facebook anymore. It's not Instagram, not even Snapchat, or it's TikTok, right? TikTok. And what do we have on TikTok? You have short form video clips between 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and I don't know what the max amount is now. And you're scrolling. And what's happening behind the scene, and if you watch The Social Dilemma, they will show you exactly what this is. Behind the scene is this algorithm that is measuring to the millisecond how much you're spending on what video. And if you spent 1 extra millisecond on the video with the pretty girl and the naked girl, right? Okay, now your algorithm is going down this road to feed you more and more of this. And I guess technically this could work in a good way, but usually doesn't. If your algorithm catches you're listening to a sheikh or some Quran also by a millisecond more, it can take you down that road. But of course, that's not what's happening with the majority of people. And in terms of magnifying sin, again, now I don't have to go anywhere to sin. I don't have to meet up with anyone to sin. In the comfort of my home, in my solitude, I can sin. And this means that instead of sinning, let's take it now from a mathematical perspective, instead of sitting while I am with my bad group of friends for a few hours a day, I am sinning for the majority of the day. The average screen time is over 7 hours a day. The average screen time, this is not just for kids, this is including adults, is over 7 hours a day. That's almost a third of the day. I'm sleeping for a third of the day. I'm, working, I guess, for a third of the day. And I'm on my device for a third of the day. And it's become an addiction. It has become an addiction. And researchers and organizations can recommend whatever they recommend, right? The average screen time that's recommended, by the way, it should be 0, but the average recommended screen time for ages 5 to 7 is maximum 1 hour. The actual screen time for ages 5 to 7 is 3 point something hours, 3.2, 3.3 hours. And that number increases as the child increases. We don't understand what we have given our children. Most parents don't understand what they have given their children, unfortunately. And now, if we're talking only about explicit content, I'm using those words on purpose, I hope you know what I'm referring to. If I'm talking only about explicit content, here are some scary stats. By age 11, 27% of kids report actively searching for explicit content online. And in terms of having seen explicit content on accident, because that happens as well, that number jumps to 42%. So 27% by the age of 11 are actively searching for explicit content online. When it comes to social media, and perhaps some of us have noticed this, Facebook and Instagram used to be pretty clean when it comes to explicit content. Usually, if you're looking for explicit content on social media, you go to Twitter or you go to TikTok, is full of it, right? Or whatever. More recently, and all of this under the guise of free speech, right? Of lifting and allowing these corporations and companies to do whatever they want, Facebook and Instagram as well is filled with this. We have to call it softcore the word. We have to call it what it is. Just because someone is not 100% naked, so it's not labeled under that category. But social media is filled with that. Now, we know this, and I do think that 10 years ago, if we were having this session, parents can say, we don't know about this, right? We're giving our child a device, we're giving our child a smartphone because all of his friends have a smartphone. I don't want him to feel left out. He needs to call me. He needs to, check his homework now on whatever, platforms they use at school, whatever reasoning we may have. We as a community have to understand there are ways to circumnavigate everything we have to do. There are ways to solve all of the issues that we may have without giving this poison to our children. And if it were up to me, I'm making a law, before the age of 17, there is no need for someone to have a smartphone. Full stop. If you need to contact your parent, get them a Nokia, get them a flip phone. Do you know what's funny now? There are companies that are making smartphones that only have the calling app and the texting app. Yeah, we're trying to go back and close the loop or something. If someone needs to contact their parents, their friends, a flip phone suffices, right? Gmail suffices. We should not be giving smartphones to our children, full stop. When they are 17, 18, they're ready, inshallah, to, even then, you need to make sure that they have the understanding, the correct understanding. What are they supposed to stay away from? What are they looking for, etc. Then you can give them this gun. Then you can give them this weapon. And as for screen time, I'm not a parent yet, but as for screen time, we have to understand that even best case scenario, You're showing your child the best thing you can on YouTube. You're showing them the best TV shows. Inshallah, Quran and Hadith all day, right? Just the screen time itself has developmental problems for the child before the age of 5. If they are watching a certain amount of screen time before the age of 5, that is messing up with their development. We have to find ways as parents. I'm sure it's difficult. I'm sure it's very, very hard. We have to find alternatives for them, because what we're giving them is in fact destroying them. The last thing I'll talk about, inshallah, before opening it up to the floor, the teenager on social media. So now let's put explicit content to the side. Let's assume they're not seeing any of that. Let's put music to the side. We didn't talk about music. Let's put everything haram to the side. How is social media affecting teenage, high school age development? And you can do the research on your own and see. Something like self-esteem. Self-esteem, especially, primarily in teenage girls. And The Social Dilemma talks about this, that documentary, where you have a crazy spike in depression, in anxiety, in suicidality, especially in teenage girls. Why? Because naturally, as my father mentioned, we're seeking validation. Naturally, we're seeking to be special. We're seeking to be liked and to be loved. But now, I have that extension throughout all the hours of the day. I have a post on my social media, and the whole time I'm looking, how many people liked it? Who liked it? Did that person like it? Did that girl that I like or that boy that I like, did they like it? I go through all of my friends, right, feeds, and I look and I watch and I compare. That child, that teenager's self-esteem tanks. No matter how beautiful they are, no matter how comfortable they will always see themselves as less than. They will always see themselves and view others and compare. And of course, I'm not going to post an ugly picture on social media, right? So what I see in someone else's social media is the best of the best. Maybe it's even altered and filtered and digitally, whatever, AI now, who knows what's next. And I'm always comparing myself to that. So that hurts and damages the self-esteem of the teenager. When it comes to depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts now, things that teenagers may have already, social media aside, but now you're giving this person an avenue to stay home even longer, to isolate even more. And of course, that only exacerbates and worsens the situation. If someone already has depression, someone already is very anxious, and now they don't have that real social connection outside, those real healthy relationships outside. How is this person going to improve? How is this person going to get any better? So for teenagers especially, as they are developing physically, mentally, emotionally, these things destroy that development, really harm that development. A few solutions before I open the floor. I mentioned already the ages that I think we should be banning things until, whether it's screen time or social media. The very minimum things that we can do as parents or as older siblings, the bare minimum. Number one, if my brother, my sister, my child has a device, you have to turn on the blocking of explicit content on their device. And there are settings for that. You go to the settings, you block explicit content, you block even specific websites. More than that, you can do this through your internet provider. Through your internet provider, they can actually block these things. You can do it from your router, but sometimes you have to call them, you have to set that up with them or on the app. There are even more ways to do so. So that you don't have to just go on their device. No. Anyone in that using that Wi-Fi is unable to access those things. The second thing, and the last thing before I open it up, inshallah, if they do have to use a device, if they do have to play something or watch something or access social media, have it in the living room of the house. Have it in the common area of the house. Do not allow it to be just in their room. That's a recipe for disaster. Don't allow it just to be them in isolation. It's a recipe for disaster. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our children and protect our youth. And hopefully we start to realize, and it's not just us, right? Other communities are also waking up to this. But for us, for the spiritual reasons also that my father mentioned, we should be even more aware of these things. We should be the pioneers and at the forefront of showing you can live life very comfortably in a very fun way without these things. And we can use them as tools in some instances, but in most instances, we should not be using them at all. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. If you have comments or questions or concerns or qualms, please tafaddalu. We have a few mics up here so we can pass them to you, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Um, I I agree with everything that's been said. I think there's real value in limiting our exposure to social media. Aside from that, too, it's been proven, and there's been research studies done that have shown that social media has actually rewired our brains. Our dopamine centers in our brain actually have been affected by the algorithms and our exposures to the notifications that we get. We it in a way it changes our biology, the way that our brain responds to these notifications and these parasocial interactions that we go through online. They're harmful for us, and we have to disconnect from that in order to sort of return to our natural being.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. The social dilemma mentions this, and actually, this rewiring of the reward pathway of your brain makes it so that you no longer experience pleasure in normal things, right? If for 3-4 hours a day I got really happy at that notification, that like or that whatever, then I go and I play soccer, I play basketball. I would rather be home. I'd rather be online. I'd rather be plugged in. And the people that made that social media have teams of researchers, teams of psychologists, all studying the behavior of the person, testing what color would make them use the social media for a little longer, which design here, what interface here, what sound here. All of this is studied so that we become slaves to this thing. And I don't want to get conspiratorial here. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Best case scenario, these people are doing this to make money, are doing this to gain us as the consumer. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, and there are some people out there that have very evil intentions and are using this for mass control And this documentary, The Social Dilemma, they're not Muslims that made this. They are not connected to religion in any way. But the conclusion of the documentary, I'll spoil it for you guys. These tools, these social media platforms, are being used to divide people into two camps. The algorithm is now dividing people in a way that has not been seen before into two political, social camps. So someone that is more left-leaning, more liberal, that's what they're going to see. They're going to be pushed all the way left. And someone that's right-leaning is going to be pushed all the way right. And this question was asked to these ex-CEOs and ex-founders, what is the thing that you fear most as a result of this? And all of them answered, eventually, civil war. Civil war. Because think about it. I am watching the news, what I think is the truth, and I'm getting all of this. And my brother that may live in the same place as me is watching something totally different. And we are being pushed like this. I know I'm ranting, but it's worst case scenario is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. May Allah protect us.
So on a personal level, how do we fight if we have an addiction to social media? Do you have any tips or things that we can share with our families, ourselves, to lessen our usage or stop it completely? What do you recommend?
I think this is a good question. I think we'll go back to the basics. To the basics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in us, fitrah, the pure nature. This pure nature, and don't allow other means to alter it, to contaminate it. All these kinds of things are our choices. They are powerful, no doubt about it. Shaitan is using them as means and tools, and they are powerful. But don't blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah created us actually with more power, but we are not utilizing that power. We are not utilizing that potential that in us as human beings. Because every time has its own culture. When we go back to the old times, the Prophet ﷺ, they had their own tools of how to manipulate the minds of people, how to lure them. They had money, they had poetry, they had women, they had fame, they had those kind of things. And the way the prophets came and dealt with it, of course, by using this potential that is in these human beings. When they believed, they were able to put that away and not to be affected by it. Similarly, in our time, Allah is fair. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not tell us about something that it is haram. Don't do it, except He gave us the ability to stay away from it. So if we do the right things, meaning we take care of our children by making sure that we feed them the right food, and I mean physically as well as spiritually. We are not giving them the spiritual food that will make them stronger, that will make them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I told you this story maybe several times. But the Prophet ﷺ, among those who were around him, and many times he interacted with children, he told the parents the dua to say to protect their children. Are we saying dua to protect our children? Are we asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect? Allah taught us that all the way from the beginning. He told us, when one of you approaches his wife for intimate relationship, let him say, Allahumma inni a'udhu Allahumma jannibna ash-shaytana wa jannib ash-shaytana ma razaq. Subhanallah. We are aware from the shaitan before even the inception. Before even the inception, we are aware of the plots of the shaitan. And we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children from shaitan. So, we don't stop there. We keep making dua, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us beautiful dhurriyyah, beautiful children, offspring. We're going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're going to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we fill our home with beautiful atmosphere. Atmosphere that will make the angels will come. Not shaitan, the angels. So as soon as we enter our home, we say Bismillah. We say Bismillah. Shaitan will not be able to enter. When we are going to eat, we say Bismillah. Shaitan will not be able to eat. So we make it difficult for the shaitan. Many of us, we are not doing that. We are not aware of that. As a matter of fact, we are opening the door wide open for the shaitan to come in and to play with our children and give them these gadgets to really be friend with the shaitan. So my point is, if we really are familiar with these little things that become part of our behavior and habit, whether between us men or between us and our spouses or between family members or between community members, I am 100% sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakah in this atmosphere and things will be normal. However, we have to close the door for other things to enter. And that is using this basic behavior. Basic behavior. And you know, one of the issues that this kind of social media and this kind of gadgets will make is what is called instant gratification. Instant gratification. We are becoming this kind of a human beings that we have no patience. Even children at the classroom, when they are learning from the teacher, they want the result immediately. They are impatient. I mean, tell me how many people are reading a book from cover to cover? People would like to have the news in few seconds. They would like to have only the summary, exactly what happened. No analysis, no reading the story from the beginning, what happened, who did what. And people have no patience. Why? Instant gratification. And they are making use of that. So then by time, we become those kind of human beings where we will not tolerate to wait for the results to come in few days or in a month or in few hours. No, I want it right now. All these kind of things, I think, are building habits. How do we build good habits in our children? We need to know how we build good habits in our children Islamically. In spiritual habits of dhikr, spiritual habits of reading Quran, spiritual habits of performing salah on time, spiritual habits by being clean, spiritual habits by knowing what to say when you enter the home, what to say when you are communicating with your parents or the siblings communicating with each. All this goes back to building habits. How do we build these kind of habits? Of course, if we don't do it, the social media will do it. This is exactly what it is. Wallahu a'lam.
Very quickly, inshallah. I think first we stop the bleeding, which means, yes, I may have a problem myself, but I'm going to commit, inshallah, for my children. This is what it's going to be. No smartphone before the age of whatever. You set that age, should be late. And no screen time before the age of whatever. Now that the bleeding stopped, I work on people that actively have this issue. There is a Pakistani British psychiatrist, I forget his name. I can't recall his name. I tried to find it. He's saying to combat this instant gratification, we have to slow things down actively. If you're able to walk somewhere, walk somewhere. If you're able to walk in nature, walk in nature. If I'm able to have food, I can cook it myself and I eat it, I need to pick that over the fast food. I have a pet at the house, connecting with a pet even. I need to actively do and make decisions in my life that are going to slow things down. When it comes specifically to social media and the phone, I have to determine and assess, do I have an addiction? And usually the way to assess that is, if you commit to a period of time without it and you fail, or you feel that it's really impeding on your personal or social life, it's probably an addiction. If it's an addiction, you have to treat it as an addiction, meaning I cannot most likely quit cold turkey today. That's very hard to do. Some people can do it, some people cannot. Most people cannot. I have to then gradually decrease my time using it. For example, I'm only going to check my social media accounts between this hour of the day every day. Start off like that. Then I'm going to limit it to maybe the weekends, or maybe until you get to a point where you do have that self-control. I'm just going to put it away for a week or for Ramadan, and you're fine, right? I think those are some steps we have to take. Allah A'lam.
How about the sisters? Anyone has some comments? Yes, the rest of the brothers? Anybody?
So the category of social media has become so broad now. Do you see any social media websites that are beneficial? Like from my experience, I found YouTube to be kind of beneficial in some ways. So do you think our end goal should be to stay away from all of them eventually, or do you see any social media sites that maybe we should keep around, you know?
I think at our age, so past the age of, let's say 18, just as an arbitrary age of adulthood, there is good. There's definitely good. If I am in control of my algorithm, YouTube is great, Facebook is great, Instagram to a lesser degree, but it can be, right? Any social media that has those beneficial elements in terms of I can choose to follow, for example, pages and people that are good for my Islamic development or my Islamic growth. I do the same on YouTube, Facebook as well. And then you have social media that, in my opinion, it's extremely hard to become in control of that algorithm. TikTok being the main one. It's just naturally harder. It's not natural. There's nothing natural about it. It's harder because of what they made it with. Allahu A'lam what that is. It's harder to control your feed. Much harder. TikTok, I would say just go ahead and get rid of it. Snapchat as well. I don't even know if that's still, used much. Go ahead and get rid of it. I think YouTube, to some degree, especially if you're not getting into the shorts, because that's where the algorithm really goes crazy, then I think you're good. You can follow the pages you want to follow. You can control it. But that's after the age and the self-control is there. Prior to that age, I would say just go ahead and put a pause as much as possible to as many as possible. Allahu A'lam.
So inshallah we're going to stop. Before that, I just want to add one more thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He gave us one example that we can use to determine what is harmful to us and what is not harmful to us in issues that are blurry. Everyone is responsible for himself or herself, and everyone should know what is this that I can control, what is this that probably I'm putting myself at risk. So the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us is al-khamr, alcohol. يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that in gambling and in alcohol there is some benefit. Allah did not hide it. He said there is some benefit, but there is harm. He said وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِن نَفْعِهِمَا, and the harm is outweighs the benefit. So when you know the harm outweighs the benefit, then why I would like to take the risk? And because the harm outweighs the benefit, Allah said khamr is haram. So from that perspective, I think to be on the safe side, especially when we are talking about children, talking about someone who knows his or her weaknesses. Where is my weakness? And I should know what are my weaknesses. And I should try to not to put myself in a position where my weaknesses will force me to get into a point where I will put myself at risk. However, When it is safe, then that's fine. That's one. Number two, the other area that is so beneficial in these kind of circumstances and this subject is a good companionship. A good companionship. It is necessary. We are human beings. We need each other. We need advice. We need good companion. We need someone whom I count on to tell me, you are wrong, stop doing that. You see, that's exactly what we need. I know a long time ago, this is more than 45 years ago maybe, there was that brother. I can't forget that story. You know, he came to me one day and he said, Brother Ja'far, please listen to me. I am giving you an amana, a trust. He said, when you see me involved in backbiting, stop me right there. Yeah. So he said, I'm giving you permission, he said. I'm giving you permission. You hear me, you see me backbiting, stop me there regardless. Tell me, stop. You see, you need a good companion, a good friend that you can count on, who will tell you when you are wrong, stop. That's beautiful. So, as we are navigating through all this, develop to have a good friend, good companion, someone who can really advise you. I think this will help, inshallah ta'ala. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, this topic will continue. I'm not sure whether it's going to be next Friday or maybe the Friday after that, but inshallah this topic will continue بإذن الله تعالى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا يرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس ومن يفعل ذلك ابتغاء مرضات الله فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما ومن يشاقق الرسول من بعد ما تبين له الهدى ويتبع غير سبيل المؤمنين نوله ما تولى ونصله جهنم وساءت مصيرا إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء ومن يشرك بالله فقد افترى إثما فقد ضل ضلالا مبينا إن يدعون من دونه إلا إناثا وإن يدعون إلا شيطانا مريدا لعنه الله وقال لأتخذن من عبادك نصيبا مفروضا ولأضلنهم ولأمنينهم ولآمرنهم فليبتكن آذان الأنعام ولآمرنهم فليغيرن خلق الله ومن يتخذ الشيطان وليا من دون الله فقد خسر خسرانا مبينا يعدهم ويمنيهم وما يعدهم الشيطان إلا غرورا أولئك مأواهم جهنم ولا يجدون عنها محيصا. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الحمد لله فاطر السماوات والأرض جاعل الملائكة رسلا أولي أجنحة مثنى وثلاث ورباع يزيد في الخلق ما يشاء إن الله على كل شيء قدير. ما يفتح الله للناس من رحمة فلا ممسك لها وما يمسك فلا مرسل له من بعده وهو العزيز الحكيم. يا أيها الناس اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض لا إله إلا هو فأنى تؤفكون. وإن يكذبوك فقد كذبت رسل من قبلك وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. الذين كفروا لهم عذاب شديد والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم مغفرة وأجر كريم. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.